Hi guys, I'm Daddy Freeze, convener of the Free the Sheeple movement and leader of the Free Nation in Christ. I greet you and I bring glad tidings. Um, Today's topic is called the politics of fear. Um, there's quite a lot that I want to talk about, scriptural and political. Uh, so let's get on to it. Before I do this, I'd like to quickly call. There were three guys: Ifeanyi, Stephen, and Friday, who we were supposed to build shops for. Three of the youths that we vow to help. So,
Hello, sir.
yes, Friday, how far?
Fine, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my
Fine,
people,
sir,
they here,
sir.
they listen to you. They don't finish your shop.
Sir?
They don't finish your shop.
Yes, sir. They are already free territory, sir. I really appreciate, sir. Thank
So
you
you are
very much,
happy.
sir. God bless you, sir.
Okay, that guy where I say make he can't do manager for now. I go send me all the pictures so I go fit show our people.
Okay, no problem, sir. The guy snap everything.
He snap
Come on,
everything. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. You they hear from your guy Steven, how you own shop?
Hmm. Sir, stay in. I hear from my one sister, but well, I don't know. Maybe you tell your man you have to check him now. I don't know what happened to him, but sometimes like that, they say I'm around like that, but the thing they okay, but I didn't tell my time, sir.
Okay, okay, because we don't
Uh,
finish your own shop like 1 month ago, I'll be 3 weeks ago.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1 month ago, yes, sir.
1 month ago, So
Yes, sir.
you and Ifeanyi they together.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Make una sell well, oh.
Don't be like
Now
that.
opportunity we give you, so make you come out for that poverty, oh.
Allah, Baba, we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you, Dog Harry. Thank you very
All
much.
right, God
you,
bless
sir.
you. God bless you.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you very much, sir. God bless
Okay.
you, sir.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
Three youths that I met randomly at the traffic light when the traffic lights were destroyed during the NSAS protests. Three of them were conducting traffic. So I said, you know what? Let me sort you out in such a way that Binta was one of the people who contributed towards that project. So I was like, okay, let me see how I can help these people because they're working hard now. They're youths. Now they're conducting traffic at the traffic light. The moment the traffic lights are returned, what work will be left for them? So luckily the lights have been restored. Now we have the traffic lights back and the youths too have shops. Stephen was the one I met. He didn't have a phone. We built him a shop and the shop had a little room on the side. So he has like a little sleeping quarters and the shop with makeshift material, something that he can at least be able to engage himself usefully for a short while we get to sort him out. The other gentlemen, we decided to build their shop together because they wanted to go into the same business of selling food stuff. So Stephen had his shop where he was selling provisions and a bit of paraga, even though I wasn't too happy with that because and also the other two boys. So they're all sorted now, thank God, and thank every single person who contributed to this. We tried 250k can't really get you much in Nigeria of today. You would struggle. So when we budgeted 250k for the three of them, we knew we had to scratch the sand and make it work. And we were able to a bit above budget, but at least we're able to contain everything and sort them out. Now, I want to talk about the politics of fear. We all saw what happened today. But before I go there, let me pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for every single thing you've done in our lives. I glorify you and I adore you. I bless and praise you. I worship and glorify your holy name. I ask for your mercy upon this nation. I ask for your forgiveness and your guidance. I ask for your direction, Almighty King. In Yahushua's name, I pray. And all the good people in the house said a big, big amen. I saw what happened today with Mr. Macaroni. And I must say, protests are a constitutional right of a human being. You should be, even in your house, when you don't like things, you protest against your parents. You go and tell them like, hey, this is what people are doing, I'm not, you know. But also in the light of what happened during the last protest, I understand the fear of the government. Okay, make it no escalate, to make them no turn them into something else. Anybody, I don't understand arresting unarmed protesters. I don't understand that bit. And what I don't understand the most is stripping, taking their clothes off, bundling them together like chickens in a coop, throwing them at the back of a vehicle that refused to start. That bothers me. And it has come to a point where I realize that if we don't fix ourselves, no one's going to fix us. As we're speaking, more was happening in Ibadan. Hausa versus Yoruba. I saw some of the videos. I don't know how authentic they are, but I saw some of the alleged videos. And I worry for us. Pagan countries that have no religion. Now, Nigeria is the second most religious country on earth, second only to Afghanistan. Pagan countries, satanic countries are not as bad as this. Would I say the government doesn't have a right to arrest? The government can arrest anybody it feels like arresting. Yes, the government, but is that how you arrest? Is that the methodology? What happened to respecting their dignity? What happened to their dignity? Why take off their shirts? It's not like they were fighting. If they're fighting back, I understand that, okay, Mr. Macaroni does not look like somebody that can fight. You know, see Mbele, that one don't look like Goofy fight. So it's not like they were breaking bottle. Hey! You know? And I must say, you see, the era when fear was used as a tool has long since ended. In religion and in politics. You see, we need to understand that our society is evolving. Our leadership must evolve with it. I watched the reply of that lady, bless her soul, who I was quite hard on her when she came and said, they say Africa is poor, poor, poor. I watched her reply. If there's anything I must appreciate her for, is the fact that she's a sweet spirit, and her reply to me, she did not attack me back, even though I was expecting attack. You know, however, there were some things I drew from her reply. She said that they say people in Africa live on $10 a day or $1 a day, that Africans don't need more than $1 a day. That there's some places in Africa that have no electricity. There's some places in Africa that have they don't need the modern amenities that people have. She was speaking of her grandmother in the village who didn't need all those things. But you see, in as much as I appreciate her opinion and where she's coming from, I must point out the hypocrisy in it. She recorded what she said with a cell phone. For that cell phone to work, you need a cell tower, you need a cell site, you need wiring, you need antennas, you need people who are going to travel back and forth carrying equipment and all that. The moment you do that, the moment you accept technology, the moment you accept to be on the grid, there's a sacrifice you have to make. It's going to come with more pollution because you're going to create more factories. People burn through cell phones. I've had this cell phone for about a year and it's old. It no longer has the capacity it once had. This is my office. I'm beginning to struggle with it. I need a new phone. The other ones, I need new ones too, but because I don't use them as much as I burn this one, I can still manage those ones for maybe another year, at most, at best, because I'm transmitting using phones. I need new phones very quickly. Guess what? It means new phones need to be produced. So the moment you want to have a phone, you're talking about an iPhone 12, you want to have an iPhone 12, you want to drive a new car, those things need to be produced. And once they begin to be produced, people are going to travel more, diseases are going to spread more, hospitals are going to spring out more. Your aunt in the village living on $1 a day is going to be poor. Because poverty is when you lack the basic amenities needed as a human being to live a good and standard life. As we are accepting all these changes, we must also accept that a leadership that must guide 205 million people must be as dynamic as this iPhone 11 Pro that is now outdated. The leadership of this country comes from, they were youths in 1983 when they assumed power. From 1983 till the year I got married in 2001, my parents had the same phone box in their house. 1983, I beg your pardon. 93, 10 years. 2003 would have been 20 years, minus 3 years, 17 years. My father had the same telephone box in his house for 17 years, and it worked. They come from the fixed asset generation. We are in the dispensable asset generation, the recyclable asset generation. "12 years ago, there was no Instagram. Look at how far Instagram has gone. 12 years ago, there was no Bitcoin. Look at how Bitcoin has revolutionized the way we make transactions. How can we have a nation or a world that is dynamic like iPhone, like Instagram, like Bitcoin, and we have a government that is static like landline?" This is a generation where everything, including leadership, is disposable. Your phone is disposable. Your car, if you drive a car for 2 years, you start getting bored, you want something else. Even your house, sometimes after a while, you get tired of it. But you have the same set of people in power. Now, before I used to believe that old people this. Is Biden not old? The problem with Biden, you see, let me show you something on this iPhone. If you go to this iPhone and you click on settings, right? And you go to general, right? And then you go to software update. It'll rotate and rotate and rotate. I don't know if you guys can see it. It will rotate and rotate and rotate until it's checking for the software update. So let me wait while it sorts out this software update and we watch it. And then it will come and say, your software is up to date. Biden might be an iPhone 6 with regards to his age. He might be using or running the hardware of an iPhone 6 when you compare him to someone like Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. However, Biden is an iPhone 6 who is updated regularly and is running on the latest 14.4. I hope I'm on the right. This thing is not updating. Okay, I must have, because I was turning off I was turning off the internet just before I started, so it must have gone back and forth. So like I was saying, Biden is like an iPhone 6 that is updated regularly. iOS 14.4, if you can see clearly, is up to date. If you check Biden's software update, you will see that he's running this 14.4. Our leaders are on iOS 6. Or which iOS came with iPhone 6? Over the years, they have found it difficult to update their software and be compliant with the modern day age. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Sometimes when my children's music sounds a lot of the time like garbage in my ears. And when I was growing up, and my mom used to say, man, those are your songs, they just sound very off. I didn't understand. I felt our music was, because it was a culture. Music is not just sound, it's a culture. And even though I'm close to my kids, I interact with young people a lot on Instagram, I can tell there's a disconnect between me and the music of today. And I want to tell you something. It's not entirely your leader's fault. Generally, this is what happens to religious nations. The Bible is a 2,000-year-old book. You cannot superimpose the ideologies of the Bible into a present-day country and expect it to fit. That is why Christ spoke in parables, because he wanted what he was saying then to be effective eternally. Religion is not effective eternally. Christ is, religion is not. I'll give you an example. All those people saying, tithing, let's tithe like they tithed in the Bible. Have you ever bothered to understand how the society worked? Let me break something down to you. There was a 7-year cycle. The first year, they ate their tithe in the place the Lord had chosen. The second year, they ate the tithe in the place the Lord had chosen, according to Deuteronomy chapter 14. The third year, they gave the tithe to the Levites and the poor, the widows, blah, 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 blah. The fourth year, they ate their tithe. The fifth year, they ate their tithe. The sixth year, again, they gave their tithe to the widows, orphans, Levites. The seventh year, they shut down the economy. No one worked for one whole year according to the ancient Jewish system. Everybody sat at home for 1 year, and then they started the cycle again. Can you try that in today's Nigeria? Sorry, today's world? Those days, if there was no moonlight or starlight, you couldn't work. I remember going to my father's farm, my grandfather's farm in Romania. We were making some alcoholic drink called palinka. Or what's the other name for it? Tweaker. Yes. Palinka is like the local name. Anybody who's lived in Romania before will know palinka. So we went one day. I followed my grandfather to where they distilled this palinka. They put some hoses round like this in a tube, a big tube, and then river water was coming in to cool down the tube as it was being distilled, and they will put like 10 barrels of apples in and distill it, and then at the end of the day they'll get maybe 4 bottles like this size of palinka. So when we were done, they told me that I was tired around 3 a.m. I couldn't continue. So they told one guy who apparently had been sneaking and been drinking the palinka to take me home. I just noticed everywhere was pitch dark. There was no moon, no stars. Everywhere was pitch dark. And I was following this leader. He was my leader. He was leading me home. He knew the way. But I just felt that this house not supposed to far reach like this. I know where they do the palinka is on the way from my grandfather's townhouse, if I can call it that, to his farmhouse. And the walk is about 15 minutes. 19 minutes later, we are still walking. We don't know where we are going. Luckily for me, we ran into one of our uncles who now turned on his torchlight. Apparently, this drunk guy was leading me around a tree. All the 19 minutes we're walking was actually 4 minutes away from the palinka place, and we're walking the whole 19 minutes around the tree. Papa don't day until somebody came to shine light and say, "Why are you walking around this tree?" That's when we realized that. Now I tell the guy, I say, "Baba, this guy wait, they say make he lead me." Papa don't day. He was drunk with the palinka. Today, we have leaders who don't drink, but are drunken on ignorance. Look at the decisions they take. I'm not saying this to in any way malign my elders who happen to be our leaders. I say this because I want Nigeria to grow. We've been ruled by fear for so long. Nigeria opened churches when Israel was closed for worship. When Rome was closed for worship. When England, these are the 3 countries that brought us Christianity. Christianity started in Israel. It moved to Rome. Our British forefathers brought this Christianity to us. Those 3 places were locked down. Our churches were open. Islam came from Mecca. Mecca was long locked down. Our religious centers were open. It speaks volumes. You see, thuggery and all the ills that have been used to change governments. And please, I find it upsetting when people from other governments talk about this government. Please forgive me. Eh? No government in Nigeria was good. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Somebody said the last government or the last governments were better than this government. Let me tell you something. Let me show you something. I don't know if I can show you this. I'm going to try to show you something. I want to show you something. Okay, just hang on, guys. Let me just show you this in an airplane. Maybe you guys can understand better if I use visual. Okay, let me show you a 737 because that's a plane I'm familiar with. Okay, that's a 737. Okay, I want to show you something. Someone said you don't compare two failures. Yeah, but there, you see, let me tell you, I've seen this pattern in Nigeria. Two bad things, they're going to compare which was. None of them are good. Make we tell ourselves the truth. I want to show you this. Okay. Can you see this? This is from a 737. I don't know who sent this one message. You can see this from a 7. If the plane were in flight, right here where my hand is, would be a descend now button. If the plane were cruising, there will be that descend now button. Pilots are familiar with this. If you hit that descend now, the plane is going to configure itself for landing. And the plane is going to, first of all, retard the throttles, pitch the nose down slightly, adjust the horizontal stabilizers, trim the ailerons, and it is going to begin to descend. Let me tell you what happened. The moment they handed Nigeria to us in 1960, what our leaders then did, the plane was cruising. Why am I saying the plane was cruising? 3 years before 1960, Singapore gained their independence. No, sorry, Singapore gained their independence in 1965. I beg your pardon. When Singapore gained their independence in 1965, they were impoverished, meaning they were on the ground. They had to taxi. They had to throttle up. They had to speed down the runway. They had to, when you are speeding down the runway, when you reach your V1, you hear one of the pilots announce V1, meaning you have reached the speed where which you must take off, no matter what happens. Then once you reach V1 speed, the next speed is rotation speed. You hear the next person say rotate. Once they rotate, they pull the plane up and the plane starts to climb. Singapore was on the ground. They had to taxi, speed down the runway, take off, and climb to cruising altitude. And right now they're cruising smoothly. Within 25 years, Singapore became one of the richest nations in Asia. We were already cruising. We, in 1960, were exporting 40% of the world's palm oil. We were exporting groundnuts and cocoa and rubber. We just discovered oil. We were already cruising. But the moment they handed Nigeria over to us, someone deemed it fit to go into this place and hit the descend now button. And slowly but steadily, we have descended into oblivion. While Singapore, see, we're descending like this. Singapore was climbing, we were descending. We descended, Singapore climbed and passed us and continued to the cruising altitude. We were descending. We went down and down until now we're on the ground, or we're about to crash. So I find it a bit hypocritical when other leaders or other people who have held political power blame this government. Let us that have not held any political power, let us be the ones blaming the government. You did, when you came into power, you did not stop the descent too. Some slowed down the descent. They went and adjusted the vertical speed. The plane slowed down a bit, but it was still coming down. So, it was extremely convenient for many regimes to blame it on the previous one, and blame it on the previous one, and blame it on the... If you've lived in Nigeria as long as I have, you will know that there's no government in Nigeria that has been good. From the 1979, Nigeria was 19 years old, a teenager when I came to this country. And if there's anything I can tell you, is that nothing's been good. When I came in 1979, I used to experience power cuts, and I couldn't understand why we didn't have power and why we still don't have power up until now. And we didn't have power in the last administration or the one before that. So all of a sudden, them being these geniuses that can figure out our political crisis, why didn't they figure it out when they were in office? Explain this to me, and they should. Don't let people use you to destabilize an already fragile nation. My question is, they are complaining about this regime. What was better during their own regime? What was better? Were our roads better? Was our electricity system better? Until this nation can fix power, we will continue to descend. Romania does not have petrol or crude oil, but they have buses. They call it tramvile, I don't know, trams or whatever they call them in English, that run on electricity. If you don't have 24-hour electricity, you cannot run those buses in the middle of town connected to street light, to street wire. We don't have a transportation system in this country. What's the transportation system? BRT? Really? Is that how UK is? Is that how the US is? Someone said corruption was better. That's a lie from the pit of hell. The reason why we are where we are today is because of the corruption of all previous regimes. They should all keep quiet. There was one petroleum minister that stole Bill Gates, according to reports. So who is good and who is bad? So here's what I want to say here. Nigeria needs a software update. Nigeria as a people, Nigerian leaders, and Nigeria as a country. I wish countries can get visa to visit other countries and see how other countries operate. Maybe we'd be better off. And our politics has always been the politics of fear, intimidation. as against dialogue. I pray for this country, and I do hope things eventually get better. I love Nigeria, and I know Nigeria deserves good leadership. Our leaders should either sit up or allow those who are willing to sit up and update their software lead us. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't stop praying for Nigeria. The Bible is very clear when it says, ask and you will be given. Let's ask for Nigeria. Let's ask on behalf of Nigeria. It's all we have left. We've been in a holding pattern. We've run out of fuel. Nigeria is going to have to land. Brace yourself. Pray for Nigeria. I pray for this country. Father, please prevent bloodshed and war. Father, let us love each other and let us be ready to work together. Let this country not be crippled and destroyed. I beg of you, O Lord, in Yahushua's name I pray. And all the good people said a big amen. I also want to beg you, don't let anyone lead you into civil war. I don't see much good coming out of civil war. We're better off with leaders that are working than going to war and a revolution, especially when we have a people who are never together on anything. Many of those that are going to incite you into civil war are going to whisk their children out of the country before the war starts. They're going to put it on you to fight for them, and then they'll come back to take over your sweat. Many of them, some have private jets, some have access to private jets, some could live abroad. Don't let them push you and incite you and agitate you to a point of civil war. Mark this down. You will regret it. Some people say it's the only way we'll have peace. Liberia is still struggling 30 years later. So is Sierra Leone. And none of those countries have the population Nigeria has. There is no country on earth that can deal with Nigeria's refugee crisis should a civil war erupt. Many of our wonderful Nigerian brothers and sisters who are safe abroad are the ones inciting their people at home. I don't think that's fair. If you really want a war, I think you should be on the ground to fight it. I don't see it fair. You are in Canada, where everything works. You are in the US, you are in Italy, you are in Dubai and all those places, and then you are inciting war in Nigeria. Inciting war via your social media, via your views, by motivating people. I don't think it's fair. If anyone wants to talk about war, let them be on the ground. Don't allow them to push you. Someone said, Mr. Man, we need whatever it takes to free Nigeria. Zook 3104. I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you his pictures. Before I block him from my channel, let me just first pin him down. So hang on, I'm going to first pin him. Zook 3104. Zook 3104. Abi? Okay, Zuki. First thing you see on his page is lover of God, fan of Dallas Cowboys. Baba, you know they Nigeria, you they talk nonsense. You will do anything it takes. Let's be honest with ourselves. You they Texas, you want incite war for Nigeria. I block him. I don't want to see those kind of wicked people for my life. Run, go Texas. They talk nonsense. So anyway, guys, that's as far as I can go. Please do join Taste Buds. Taste Buds is talking about a very interesting topic: how to keep relationships alive. Something to, especially after babies. You know, once a woman has babies, she gets folds, stretch marks, tummy. What used to be strong and like a tower is now like a leaning tower of Pisa. So, guys, please join Taste Buds NG on Instagram. She's going to be there now, and at Taste Buds NG on YouTube. That is youtube.com/Taste Buds NG. Please join her now. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you, and I love you all.